Hesselgesser on Purpose was brought to you by the Farmhouse Cafe, farm fresh foods you love to eat. If God Could Bake, where they deliver home-baked happiness right to your door. Alston Computer Services, professional computer service at an affordable price. Bravada's Wigs and Extensions, helping to make women feel and look beautiful.
They living in the millennium. Souls be looking for a healing and he's healing them. Filling some of them with his spirit.
My name is Robin and this is Hesselgesser on Purpose. You know, many times on this show we talk about where we're wanting to go in life, but tonight is literally about where you might want to go on a tour. When we come back, we'll have Peggy White, one of the owners of Emerald Heart Tours. Welcome back to Hesselgesser on Purpose. I would like to introduce Peggy White. She is, as I mentioned before, one of the owners of Emerald Heart Tours. Peggy, it's so nice to be able to sit and chat with you and hear more about your business. Thank you so much for being here. So when we were talking a little bit before the show, I learned something different about you. You're a teacher.
I am.
You're a full-time teacher.
Full-time. I teach kindergarten, and my partner Chris teaches special education in the high school.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. So where are you a teacher?
In Papillion.
You are. And how long have you always been a kindergarten teacher?
Always been kindergarten. This is my 17th year. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you, literally, I know what my kindergartner teacher's name was and who several of my teachers were in high school, and that's it. But I remember the first. Mm-hmm. So you got to get everybody on the right path.
We do have to get that, and that's very true. I think parents and kids will always say that's who they remember, is that first year teacher. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
It kind of sets the mark.
And I'm very excited about that I'm the one they remember. So
I bet so. So what made you go into teaching?
I loved kids, and I enjoy seeing from the beginning of the year where they know very little to just an amazing amount of learning in a year's time. So it's a lot of fun at the end of the year.
So I'm curious, 17 years, what has been the biggest change for you? What have you seen over the last 17 years? How do you think children and their parents have changed?
I don't think children have changed that much. I think they're about the same. Parents, maybe a little bit, maybe not so much, basically letting the teachers do all the work sometimes. Oh. Maybe not taking advantage of, that extra time at home to do schoolwork and that. Sure. It's kind of let on the teachers and the schools right now.
I see.
But yeah, I don't think teaching has changed that much. I think it's about the same as it was 20 years ago.
Even the pay, right?
A little bit better on the pay, maybe. I'm thankful for that. So,
now in kindergarten, does everybody still get to take a nap and have cookies and milk?
Things have changed there. No,
it's been a long time for me.
Most kindergartner is full time now. It's a full day of school, and we have a rest time of about 10 minutes after lunch. That's about it.
That's about it, huh?
That's about it. There's so much to do in a day that is required by the education's departments today that you just don't have time for naps. You got to cram it all in. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Emerald Heart Tours. Okay. Because I know that's a passion of yours.
It's a big passion.
So you started that
in 2012, and Chris, my partner, and I met on the first day of school. She was brand new in our district, and we met that day and kind of got a good connection. And as it turned out, her students in the high school were coming to mine and helping once a week in the classroom. And so we just started talking about what our passions were, besides education, of course. Yeah. And we both love to travel. Her husband works lots of hours. Mine doesn't like to travel. And so we just decided we'd take a little small trip together. And that's kind of how the whole idea of the bus trip came about.
Really? Just you two? And maybe it felt good to spend a little bit of time with adults, I'm thinking?
You're absolutely right. You know, when you spend all day long, 5 days a week, talking to 6-year-olds, It certainly is nice getting out with the adult population a little bit. So,
yeah, Peggy, you're going straight to heaven. You just
I
are.
hope so.
I have one daughter. She was near perfect. Love her to death. But I only had one, and I don't have the patience. And I'm sure she's in the control booth going, yeah, I'm sure she is. So I'm always curious, though, when somebody, I think sometimes people look at entrepreneurs like yourself and think, okay, you're 3 years down the road, and you've got a great business, and it's going well. But I'm always curious to know a little bit more about the backstory, because there's so many people out there who really want to jump off the deep end of the pool and try something and do something. I'm sure that there was some fear
Absolutely.
with you. I'm sure that there was some trepidation. I'm sure there was a level of ignorance, not knowing what to do, how's it going to go. I mean, talk a little bit about that.
You're absolutely right. I am a risk taker.
Good.
And I think you have to be a risk taker to do that type of
I do too.
thing, as you well know. And
Well, you're a risk taker. Number one, you're married, yes. So that's,
that's a risk, isn't it?
And you're taking care of X amount of kindergartners every day. So
I'm definitely
you're definitely a risk taker.
You're right. And there's that fear of, how do I go about it? And as much as I like to travel, I really didn't know the other side of travel. So it was, trial and error.
Yeah.
We did a lot of research to the background of what kinds of things, what we actually wanted to do. Because we both work full time, we knew we only had 1 day a week we could probably do this travel, and that's Saturday. So we had to find something that we could go in any direction around Omaha, but it had to be able to come back that day. And so that's kind of how our story started there. And we realized we could go about 3 hours in any direction and have a nice tour and still
get
come
back.
and get
Yeah.
back that day. So
And get back to the obligations of the next day.
that's right. That's right.
So you and your partner started out. So, I mean, talk to me. So, you have a bus, and so I'm assuming that people can go online or call you. I mean, do you have,
Right.
how does it work? Do you have certain trips that you have already planned? Do you, walk me through the.
Right. We started with friends and family, of course. That's the best place to start.
Yeah, because if you screw it up. Then
Yeah, they'll forgive you. Yes, that's absolutely right. So we started there, and then from there, we do have a website, and so you can get on the website or Facebook and find us there. And so we just took one step at a time, putting information on there. We did a lot of road tripping ourselves, which was fun for Chris and I because we got to go out on a Saturday and run around and try to find things to do.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much is in this area, 3 hours in any direction, that you can see and experience.
Yeah.
And things that I didn't even really know was out there. And I've lived my whole life here. So.
Yeah. And that's what's really cool about it. I mean, you don't have the, I've never done such a thing, I need to do it. But for me, it would seem like, oh my gosh, somebody else is in charge, somebody else has planned it, somebody else is, so who drives?
We have a bus, we get a bus. We don't
Yeah.
personally have the bus, but we bring
You
in a
get the
bus.
bu-
We
yeah.
get the bus,
Yeah.
and then we make all the arrangements. And most of our tours, we try to make 3 stops. That's pretty much all you can do in a day's time. And so what we have found is that most people, if they're going to take a bus trip, they want to go to a winery or a brewery as part of those 3 stops.
Yeah,
And
go
so-
figure.
Go figure, I know. And so we go, that's how we begin our tours. We find something that we want to see. For example, this month we went to a Mardi Gras at a winery that was set up down in Kansas.
Yeah.
And so with IKEA just opening up down in Kansas City, we thought what a great stop that would be. So that was our first stop, was IKEA. And what a fun time we had there. There's so much to see there, and everybody was pretty excited about that. Then we went to the winery, did the Mardi Gras, had our lunch, and then came back. So that's kind of how we do our trips. And pretty much that's kind of our itinerary for most things.
So how many people typically go?
30 to 40
Okay.
is pretty typical.
And what's your client look like? What's the demographic?
You'll be surprised. We thought that it would probably be our age,
Yeah.
40 to 60.
Yeah.
But we have had 20-year-olds on our bus.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on where you're going.
Where you're going, yeah.
Like our 20-year-olds, some of them came when we went on at Christmas time, we went to one where they had a murder mystery at a winery. And we had a lot of 20-year-olds on that. Kansas City was a big one where the 20-year-olds came, but they're all ages from 20 to 70.
That's neat.
It is neat. It's great.
And I would think that that would be, again, just a really neat experience. I know I would like that if I were a part of a group that, was a wide range. That's what makes it interesting and fun.
That's right. And you learn from each other.
You do. You get to know somebody on a different level.
That's right.
I've always said, my daughter and I were having this conversation, you really learn a lot about somebody when you travel with them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
There's nothing like traveling with somebody and getting to know
That's right.
the details of their personality. So do you have any, what's the funniest thing that's ever happened? Has anybody ever gotten lost or?
Golly, we haven't really had anybody lost. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah, so I can't say that anything's been the funniest. We do a lot of fun things on the bus.
So talk to me about that, because your tagline, tell everybody what your tagline is.
Our motto is, it's getting there's half the fun.
Yeah.
And so...
so it's not just the destination.
That's right. There is a destination, and usually 2 or 3 destinations, but we want to make sure that everybody's having fun while you get there.
So what do you do?
So we have games, and we
Strip poker?
No, not quite that, yes. We have games on the bus. Like at Christmas time, everybody did it was like a puzzle. They had to figure out what the Christmas song was from a puzzle. We have a couple of friends that have become regulars on our bus, and they're entertainers, they're singers.
Really?
And so we've had singing on the bus, we've had sing-alongs on the bus. We're very big on prizes. We love to get prizes because don't you love a prize? Don't you love something free?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody does.
Everybody does. And so we have lots of giveaways on the bus all the way down. Sometimes I'll call, maybe if we're going to a winery, and ask the winery if they want to donate, like a free bottle of wine. And they love that. So when we give that away, they love that a lot. And then we have one big prize that we give away, and we call that the on-time drawing. So if you're on the bus on time, then you get part of the drawing. So, and it's usually a basket with wine and glasses and fun things inside, candy, whatever.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. And they love the games. The games, I think, might be probably the biggest thing. Ellen came out with a new game on the iPad.
Yeah.
And we played that on the bus this time, and oh my gosh, they had a great time. They loved that. So.
Oh, well, that's so neat. So neat. So what is the commitment, from a client? I mean, what did they range of pay? I mean, what's included?
Right. Everything that is on the tour we include. So it's the fee to get in. Like if it's a winery, many times we'll include either wine or wine tasting for part of it. We usually include lunch, some kind of dinner. We also do, depending if we leave early in the morning, some trips we have to leave early, like the Kansas City, we needed to leave early in the morning. And so we have a box breakfast that we include. So usually your box breakfast is included, your lunch, your wine, the transportation, all that's included. So yeah. So we feed you all. You're completely satisfied and happy on that bus.
Yeah. And you recently took a big trip.
We did.
That's not just 3 hours.
No, it's not just 3 hours. A year ago, Chris and I decided kind of on a whim we'd go to Ireland.
On a whim?
On a whim. And literally it was a whim. Because
on a whim, I go to Kansas City. Just saying.
We had to very quickly get our passports because neither one of them had it. We barely made that. Over spring break. And so when we came back, we were telling all of our friends on the bus on the next trip how much fun we had, and they were suggesting, well, why don't you set one up, a big trip?
Yeah, you kind of, you got yourself into that one.
I did. I opened my mouth and stuck that foot right in. So Chris and I thought, well, you know what, why not? And so the next thing we knew, we were making plans for Ireland. And talk about research. There's a lot of research there.
I can imagine.
We literally had to set up every step of the way. We found a company in Ireland that were very helpful, and they set up the bus on that side. And then Chris and I went through and did all the research where we thought would be some of the best places to go. And
how long was that trip?
That trip was 7 days. We were there, and that is a fabulous place to visit if you ever get a chance to go there.
Really?
Blarney Castle is fantastic. That's where you kiss the Blarney Stone. Everybody's probably heard of that.
Yeah.
And so we went there. Cliffs of Moher, which might be my most favorite place. That's the most breathtaking place you can ever see. Looking miles and miles. It's 5 miles on the coast of the Atlantic. And you can see for miles and miles. At least on a good day you can. So, And yeah, that probably might have been my best, the most exciting place. The other place I really enjoyed was the Titanic Museum in Cobb. And Cobb, Ireland was the last stop before the Titanic crashed. And so they have a huge museum there, and you can actually stand on the dock where they left. It's fantastic.
Oh, that gave me chills.
I know, I still get chills from that, but it's fantastic. It's very, very interesting. You walk in and you actually are given a ticket. You are somebody that was really on that boat.
Oh my gosh.
And then at the end of the tour, you find out whether you made it or not. So, yeah.
Okay.
I made it. I was happy to know.
Yay.
You'll be happy to know.
I'm so glad. So what's next? How far ahead do you plan your trips?
We probably 6 months in advance is what we plan. Right now, we had the one that we had in February. We have another one coming in April, and that one is over in Midtown or middle part of Iowa. And it's called the German colonies. And again, another thing that I never heard of before, but back when the immigrants first came over, the early settlers, they came over and built these beautiful ornate churches. And so that's where we're gonna go. We're gonna go visit some different churches. And then again, there's a winery over there. It's an old barn that they renovated, and it's kind of in a European style. And so we're going to stop and visit there. So that's in April.
So it's probably not too late to sign up for that?
It is not too late to sign up.
That's
we have
good.
plenty of room left on the bus, so please
Wonderful.
give us a call.
Yeah.
And then the one in June is our big trip, and that's actually to Germany and Austria this year.
Really?
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting.
That's
and that part,
amazing.
last year at the end of our Ireland trip, Chris and I went and took kind of a quick trip to Germany and Austria. We sent the 27 people back home, and then we went on to Germany and Austria to kind of road trip it a little bit to kind of see what we wanted to add to our trip this year. So again, another fascinating place. Austria is absolutely beautiful, beautiful sitting in the middle of the Alps, and the scenery is just gorgeous.
Yeah. So on a big trip like that, I'm assuming that you are responsible for everything once people arrive, once they get there. Is that?
That's exactly right.
Correct? Okay.
We set everything up ahead of time. And usually it includes most of your food, all of your hotels, your plane fare, everything is included. Lunches, and of course we won't pay for your shopping or on your own.
Oh.
I know.
Imagine that.
I know. So, but it's all paid for, and we do it in installments because that way it's easier for them to come up with their down payment, to go. And then usually by May it's all done and we're ready to go. So you don't have to have any money except for shopping money and a little bit of food when you go on the trip. So.
Oh, see, that would be my ideal.
I know.
Just to be able to relax and let somebody else do all the navigating and the driving and planning, and maybe you probably have a little bit of time to do something on your own if you want to.
Oh, absolutely. We the group that we go with love to shop, and so they have to have that time to shop. And so if you don't want to shop, you can add extra side trips. Like one of the side trips this time is for the Sound of Music.
Oh.
Of course, because that's where it originated.
Absolutely.
And so you can go on that tour. There are concentration camps in the area in Germany that you could go on. So if you decided you didn't want to do the shopping, you could go do those
other
instead.
things. So what's next, Peggy? I mean, this sounds, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that this is just a part-time thing for you, because it sounds like a lot of work, and you must have a tremendous amount of organizational skills.
Well, I try.
I bet.
I do try. I guess it's a passion. I love the traveling.
Yeah.
I love to be able to come up with the different ideas of places to go.
But what made you want to offer this to other people? I mean, why did you go that direction?
Well, originally we weren't doing the overseas trips, so it was pretty much around here. And I guess, I'm also a real people person, and I like the fact that you can take a trip, even if you can't afford thousands of dollars of a trip, you could take a trip right around your own area, get away from the hustle and bustle of your job and the telephone and the cell phone and all those things and the kids, and just get away a little bit, just for one day. And I think, you know, we all work really hard.
Yeah.
I work hard, you work hard, everybody works hard. And,
Yeah.
you know, we deserve to have a little bit of fun and get out there and enjoy that, so.
Absolutely. So what do you like most about it?
Oh, you know, I love the adventure, I think. I love meeting people and taking them to different places that they've never experienced. And again, most of the people that we are taking on our bus tours are right from this area. And as I said, there are a lot of people that they didn't even realize that there's a castle in Iowa or there's an underground brewery in Kansas.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you're giving them experiences that they really enjoy, so.
You know, occasionally I'll watch something on television and they'll have a commercial for Nebraska, you know, and maybe it'll be sponsored by the chamber or something, you know, come visit Nebraska. And they'll, you know, highlight some of the things that you can do, and oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, I think you do get that kind of industrial blindness where you don't really know what's in your own backyard sometimes.
That's exactly right.
And it always amazes me because people that live in Omaha, I mean, still, this is Omaha. You can get anywhere in Omaha in 30, 40 minutes if there's traffic. And the people that, you know, talk about, oh, but going down the old market, you know, it takes a long time. It's, you know, it's interesting that we get so, most of us, studies show that most of us really spend 80% of our time within a 3-mile radius of where we live. And so I think what you do is fantastic because it just shows that you don't have to go that far to experience a lot.
Right, right. And you know, with our company, we make it fun, but we make it affordable. So as you say, you know, some people don't have the money to take big trips, but we make it affordable and include a lot of things in it. So
I bet you have a tremendous amount of repeat.
we do.
I bet you do.
We have clientele that come back all the time, and then they bring new friends all the time.
I bet
so
they do.
Our business has really grown in this 3 years. It's an amazing company, and we've made friends of just people that we've met through that. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
That's wonderful. Now, have you yourself been to any of those concentration camps that you were speaking of?
I have not been to a concentration camp. I've been to Germany and I've been to Austria, and I had been to Ireland before too, but there's still so many things that you're not experiencing there that you don't have the time to do. So even though I think it's kind of a depressing thing, I'm anxious to go there and see what it's really like in real life.
Yeah, I think, you know, you're probably right. I mean, it probably is depressing, but there's such power in that knowledge.
I think so too.
And being able to understand to the extent that any of us, you know, can, being removed from it now for quite some time, but just to be able to stand in that spot and feel, you know, the souls that have come and gone and what that must have been like. I think there's power in that, even though it's, you know, it is sad.
It
It's
is very
depressing.
sad.
And it's always, to me, it's always a shock what human beings are truly capable of doing to other human beings.
And I don't think you realize until you're standing there how much it affects you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I remember going to New York and standing, you know, where the towers went down. And even though you saw it on TV and you saw, I don't think you can experience it unless you're there and you see it.
You know, you're so right. I did the same thing. And what got me the most is because it was just not very long after that had happened. And what got me is I could smell it. And nobody can describe that on television.
No.
And you know, that three-dimensional view that you get when you're standing before it is completely different than the two-dimension that you get on camera. It's it's pretty powerful.
And I think that's the same with all these other places like Germany, the concentration camp. And it's history. It's part of history. And I think unless you experience, I don't think you get the real feel of what really happened there.
Yeah. And sometimes we have to know where we've been in order to navigate better in the future.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about, so Chris is your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have certain duties and you have certain duties?
Yeah, we
that
both have our
partnership
strengths,
work?
you know,
Yeah.
and what's really great is that we do mesh very well together. I kind of am probably the more outgoing. I have some sales background.
Yeah, I don't see her here.
Yeah. I have that side of it. I have the sales background, and so I was good at being able to go out and market our business a little bit. Although she's become very good now that she's trained, and now every time I look at her, I'm like, I can't believe that's you doing that.
Yeah.
But I do the business side, the computer side. She does like some of the marketing side, like she'll put the flyers together, that type of thing. We each have our own strengths. She's very good at that. I'm better at the paperwork side, the business side, putting in the accounts and keeping track of the payments and all that kind of thing. So.
What's been your best forum for reaching out to people? And obviously, I hope this is a great platform because
Me too.
I think that this is just a phenomenal business that you've started, and I hope that at some point you do it full time.
Yeah, well, I have a couple years before I want to stop teaching, and I think so too. I'd love for it to be something full time, but we started with our friends and family, but we have a website.
Which is?
It's Emerald Heart Tours.
Okay.
And what I think you'll be surprised, we started at craft fairs and just set up a booth and put our things out there. We took our Ireland trip and made it into a video and played that. And, people were very interested. We have picked up a lot of business from that. So, yeah, and word of mouth, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, I'm sure the people that have been on your tours are very anxious to regale other people about their experiences.
They are, and on our Facebook page, that was what was so great, is that, we had people that have been on there maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
And great comments as to how much fun they had and recommending it to other people, so.
Well, we'll certainly put the website on our screen and let people know, and your phone number as well. But
Perfect.
I so appreciate you being here and the work that
thank
you
you.
do, and it's just amazing. And I can't wait to be on the bus.
We'll see you on the bus then. How's that? Thank you so much.
We'll see you on the bus too. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I'm Robin reminding you to live your life on purpose.
Tired of man's ways and days are dropping off like minutes. Who repented? It's a race. Who wanna win it? I gotta win it, cause I repented, and I can't wait for souls to get saved, for it gets too late. Fighting my mind, I gotta realize I'm one heartbeat from eternity. I prefer to be stretched out.
Hesselgesser on Purpose was brought to you by the Farmhouse Cafe, farm fresh foods you love to eat, If God Could Bake, where they deliver home-baked happiness right to your door, Alston Computer Services, professional computer service at an affordable price, Bravada's Wigs and Extensions, helping to make women feel and look beautiful,